have told this programme that every corner of Britain could be infested with spies for foreign powers like China and Russia. Experts say thousands of low-level agents are operating across the country. And the suspected Russian spy ring uncovered earlier this year may just be the tip of the iceberg. The scale of the spying operation against the UK was revealed after police detained 3 Bulgarian nationals on suspicion of espionage. Now, as we reported last night, this comes amid a broader crackdown on Russian agents across Europe. Earlier, we spoke to one former advisor to President Putin who said spying is just business as usual.
Russia is great power, and great power need to have good intelligence service and a lot of agents in every country. Small amount of agent, meaning small amount of information, meaning big amount of fear, bilateral fear between different countries, and it means that the possibility of catastrophic law by mistake. So more agent, more peace.
I'm joined now by Colonel Richard Kemp, a former advisor to the Joint Intelligence Committee. And good evening to you, Colonel Kemp. I suppose the point is that we all do it, don't we? All big countries do have spies. We have spies, I'm assuming, there. They have spies here.
Yeah, we have spies in Russia and many other countries, of course, as they do. It's a part of life and has been since time immemorial, really. But of course, that doesn't make it something we can turn a blind eye to. You know, if they catch our spies, then they will deal with them one way or another. And equally, if we catch theirs, then we have to put a stop to what they're doing. Because while the guy that spoke just now, Putin's former advisor, was right to say that in some ways, countries having intelligence, secret intelligence on potential adversaries is an important part of confidence building, and you know it may well be the fact that that Russia knowing what we're up to and us knowing what they're up to might well reduce tensions. But on the other hand, the last thing we need is for our secrets to be released to Russia. And of course, it's not just about that in Russia's case anyway, because the Russian agents that they have over here are not just about espionage, not just about spying. They're also about terrorizing people. They're about subversion. They're about carrying out lethal attacks, such as the ones we saw in Salisbury not so long ago, and other similar attacks that have taken place here in the UK. So obviously everything that can be done has to be done to detect these people and then bring them to justice or get rid of them out of the country.
You see, there will be people who are thinking, yes, all very well and good detecting them, but why not just detect them and feed them rubbish material?
Yeah, well, that, of course, does happen, can happen, and has happened, and undoubtedly will happen in the future. But obviously that's a judgment that MI5 and our other intelligence agencies have to make in each individual case as to whether to monitor what they're doing and keep abreast of what they're doing, and as you say, maybe feed them information we want them to have. It's also quite a dangerous game, but it is something that's done, and so in some cases that will be done. I guess in the case we're talking about today, the decision was taken that these people need to be arrested, and they were arrested. Whether they prove to be guilty in the long term of spying or not, it remains to be seen.
Exactly. Now, we did hear a little earlier from Sergei Markov, this political scientist, former advisor to Vladimir Putin. Here he is suggesting that the West's crackdown on Russian agents could backfire.
Western countries became crazy and they decided to arrest and kill and pick out those Russian agents, which will not come to the situation that Russia will have no agent in Britain, for example. It means that Russia will have to send another agent, which British counter intelligence department just will not know.
Right. So what he's saying there is the fact that, you know, you arrest and you expel some, and then they just have to send more, and possibly ones that you won't know who they are, even remotely.
Yeah, that's very true as well. but it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it. Of course, this is not a game. It's a very dangerous and sometimes lethal activity. As I mentioned before, the Salisbury attack with Novichok, in which Russian GRU operatives were sent into the country to kill a Russian dissident and ended up killing an uninvolved woman in Salisbury with Novichok agent. And of course, that could happen again, but in order for it to be effective, and it wasn't particularly effective this time, certainly not for their target, then they have to have people on the ground, people undercover on the ground, such as perhaps the ones that were arrested on this occasion, and we've arrested others in the past who are not in any way connected with, or no obvious connection with the Russian government. They're not part of the embassy, they're not immediately detectable. They're blending into the local community. They're living in some cases for many years over here, doing their work and preparing the ground to make the life of the assassins easier. And so, whether it makes our life more difficult or not by rounding these people up and getting rid of them as we did after the Salisbury attack, there's neither here nor there. It's the responsibility of MI5 and the police to protect the country, and in some cases they can only do that by dealing with the operatives that are here, and it's quite right they should do so.